Hello, today I will be showing you a quick explanation of quarks. So quarks are an elementary particle and a fundamental constituent of matter. And these quarks combine to form hadrons, which are subatomic particles made up of these quarks. Now there are 6 different types of quarks. However, we call these types flavors. So we have up, down, charm, strange, top, and bottom. These quark flavors all have either a charge of plus 2 over 3 e or minus 1 over 3 e, with e being the elementary charge. Now, one way I like to use to remember these are that the positive quark flavors have a positive charge, and therefore have a positive 2 over 3 times the elementary charge for their charge. So these positive ones are up, charm, and top. And I like to think the negative names have negative charges. So for example, down, strange, and bottom will have charges of negative 1 over 3 e. For example, if we have a proton. So a proton is made up of 2 up quarks and 1 down quark. So we write it as P, and then in brackets, UUD, standing for up, up, and down, the 2 ups and the down. And if we have a neutron, we write it as N, bracket, UDD, because a neutron is made up of 1 up quark and 2 down quarks. But we also must consider antiparticles when we talk about quarks. So antiparticles will have the same mass, but will have opposite charges and opposite quantum numbers as the initial particles. For example, if we have an antiproton, it will be made up of 3 antiquarks, which are just the opposite of the original quarks. So we saw that the proton was made up of 2 up and 1 down quark. So an antiproton is going to be made up of 2 anti-up quarks and 1 anti-down quark. This is the same for a neutron. It would be made up of an antineutron would be made up of 1 anti-up and 2 anti-down quarks. So if we want to write out an antiparticle, we must put the lines above the letters. For example, if we have a proton, we normally write it as P bracket UUD closing bracket. However, if we want to write an antiproton, we must put lines over each letter to show that they are an antiproton, anti-up quark, anti-up quark, anti-down quark. And to find the charge of a quark or an antiquark, we simply add up the charges that were from the quark flavors. For example, a proton, we have 2 ups and 1 down, so we add 2 over 3 e plus 2 over 3 e minus 1 over 3 e, which will give us a final charge of just positive 1 e. And if we have an antiparticle, for example, an antiproton, we simply just have the opposite of the charge. So plus 2 over 3e now becomes minus 2 over 3e. So 2 anti-up and 1 anti-down becomes minus 2 over 3 plus minus 2 over 3 plus positive 1 over 3, which will give us a final charge of negative e.